for over 700 years. Legends have whispered about a treasure so vast it could buy entire kingdoms, a fortune hidden by warrior monks who vanished overnight. What happened to the Knights Templar's lost gold? Was it buried beneath the Temple Mount, spirited away to Scotland, or hidden beneath the cathedrals of France? Today we uncover Europe's greatest mystery, and you'll see the evidence that could finally solve it. Introduce the legendary Knights Templar, warrior monks, bankers of kings, and protectors of pilgrims during the Crusades. Explain their sudden fall in 1307, when King Philip IV of France ordered their arrest and execution, accusing them of heresy. But before they vanished, they supposedly moved their immense wealth to a secret location. The treasure, rumored to include the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, and untold gold, was never found. It all began in the aftermath of the First Crusade, around the year 1119. The Holy Land was in chaos. Christian pilgrims from across Europe were traveling to Jerusalem, but the roads were infested with bandits and mercenaries who preyed on the unarmed faithful. Out of this danger emerged a small brotherhood of 9 knights, humble men who vowed to protect those pilgrims on their perilous journey. They were led by a French nobleman, Hugues de Payens, and their mission seemed simple, to guard travelers in the name of God, but this humble beginning was about to transform into one of the most powerful and secretive organizations the world had ever seen. The knights took their vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience, living under strict religious discipline. Yet they were unlike any other monks. They were warriors, fighting monks blessed by the church and feared by their enemies. Their name, the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon, soon became known simply as the Knights Templar, referencing their headquarters on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. That site, believed to be where King Solomon's great temple once stood, gave the order not only its name, but also an aura of divine purpose. Within just a few decades, the Templars were no longer a handful of devoted knights. They became an elite military order that answered to no king, only to the Pope himself. This direct connection to the Vatican gave them unparalleled power and protection. They were exempt from taxes, free from local laws, and granted the right to build their own churches and fortresses. As the Crusades raged across the Middle East, the Templars became the backbone of the Christian army. They fought in the fiercest battles, built impregnable castles across the Holy Land, and organized supply routes that stretched from Europe to Jerusalem. But while their swords carved out victories, their true power was growing not on the battlefield, but in the vaults and counting rooms of Europe. You see, the Templars discovered something far more potent than steel, the power of money. Pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land needed safety, and the Templars offered it, not just with swords, but with finance. They created one of the earliest forms of international banking. A pilgrim could deposit money in Paris and withdraw it safely in Jerusalem, using a coded document that only the Templars could decipher. This was revolutionary. They became the trusted bankers of kings, nobles, and merchants, a network that spanned continents. Through this financial ingenuity, the Templars amassed enormous wealth. They bought vast lands across France, England, Spain, and Portugal. They owned farms, vineyards, mills, and entire villages. They lent money to kings and collected interest from crusaders eager to fund their holy wars. Yet publicly they maintained their vow of poverty, a contradiction that fueled awe and suspicion in equal measure. Their fortress temples stood like symbols of both faith and fear. In every corner of Europe, the Templar cross flew proudly, marking lands that belonged not to any nation, but to the order itself. This was an empire within empires, and its soldiers answered to no earthly ruler. But as their influence grew, so did their secrets. The Templars were rumored to possess sacred relics, objects of immense power and mystery. Some chroniclers whispered that they had discovered hidden knowledge beneath the Temple Mount, perhaps ancient scrolls or even the Ark of the Covenant itself. Whether myth or truth, these stories elevated the order from holy knights to guardians of divine secrets. The ordinary people revered them as heroes of Christendom. Kings, however, began to see them as a threat. The Templars' immense fortune and autonomy made them untouchable, and their secrecy made them dangerous. Behind monastery walls, rituals were whispered about, strange ceremonies that outsiders claimed bordered on heresy. And yet, no one dared to challenge them. By the 13th century, the Knights Templar had become far more than a military order. They were a global institution, financiers, builders, explorers, and mystics. Their ships sailed the Mediterranean, carrying not just gold and grain, but information, the most powerful currency of all. They established routes and alliances that would later shape the world. Even their architectural designs carried hidden geometry, sacred numbers, and symbols that echoed ancient mysteries. They were disciplined, efficient, and secretive, bound by oaths so strong that not even torture could break them. They believed their mission was guided by divine will, and that their wealth and success were proof of God's favor. But history has a way of turning favor into envy and admiration into fear. As the Crusades failed and Jerusalem was lost, Europe's appetite for holy war faded. The Templars returned home, wealthy, powerful, and without a clear purpose. They had outgrown their original mission, and in the eyes of Europe's rulers, they had outstayed their welcome. Kings who once borrowed from them now owed them impossible debts. Church leaders who once blessed them began to question their loyalty. The Templars had become an empire without a land to conquer and without a war to fight. Their influence stretched from the deserts of the Holy Land to the cathedrals of Paris, but in the shadows, enemies were gathering. A storm was brewing, one that would shatter the order, erase its name from history books, and spark the greatest treasure hunt Europe would ever know. It was a crisp October morning in the year 1307 when the first light touched the rooftops of Paris, and history changed forever. The city stirred awake under a strange and heavy silence. Messengers galloped through narrow streets carrying sealed orders marked with the royal seal of King Philip IV of France. Those orders would unleash one of the most shocking betrayals in European history, a calculated strike that would annihilate an entire brotherhood in a single day. The date was Friday the 13th, a day that would forever be associated with bad luck, fear, and blood. The Knights Templar, once the most powerful and revered order in Christendom, were about to vanish. For nearly 2 centuries, they had fought for God, defended Jerusalem, and amassed wealth that rivaled kings. But that morning, all of France was their enemy. On the king's command, every Templar fortress, temple, and estate was surrounded. Across the country, knights were dragged from their beds, shackled, and thrown into dungeons. The most sacred brotherhood of warriors was accused of heresy, blasphemy, and worshipping false idols. King Philip IV, known as Philip the Fair, was no fool. He was cunning, ambitious, and deeply in debt to the Templars. The crown owed them sums so vast that even the royal treasury couldn't hope to repay. And so Philip devised a plan not just to erase his debt, but to erase the order itself. He would destroy them through fear, manipulation, and lies. With the help of his puppet pope, Clement V, Philip's accusations gained the weight of divine authority. What followed was a witch hunt wrapped in the robe of religion. The charges were monstrous. The Templars, it was said, spat upon the cross during secret initiation rites. They were accused of worshipping a mysterious idol called Baphomet, of practicing black magic, and of denying Christ. These were not mere crimes. They were sins punishable by death. But behind the curtain of righteousness, it was all a desperate political maneuver. The king needed gold, and the Templars had more of it than anyone in Europe. Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master of the Templars, was among those arrested. He had no warning, no time to rally his men, and no idea that his most trusted allies had already turned against him. De Molay was an old man by then, proud, loyal, and unwavering in his faith. When he was brought before the Inquisition, the interrogators demanded confessions to crimes he had never committed. Torture followed. The dungeons of Paris echoed with screams as iron devices tore truth from flesh. Some knights confessed just to end the pain, others died before saying a word. Yet something was strange, something the king could not explain. For all the arrests, all the confessions, and all the seizures, no one ever found the treasure. The legendary Templar wealth, their gold, jewels, sacred relics, and documents, all gone. The royal soldiers searched every temple, every vault, every hidden chamber, but what they found were only empty chests and vacant halls. It was as if the Templars had known what was coming and vanished with their fortune into the shadows. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some whispered that a secret fleet of Templar ships had sailed from the French port of La Rochelle days before the arrests, carrying the treasure across the sea to safety. Others believed that underground tunnels beneath Paris had been used to move it in the dead of night. Some said the treasure was hidden beneath the Temple Mount, in Jerusalem, guarded by spirits of the old Crusaders. No one could prove any of it, and that only deepened the mystery. While the treasure remained lost, the persecution intensified. The once mighty knights were paraded through the streets as heretics, their white mantles with red crosses now symbols of shame. Public trials were staged to humiliate them, and their lands were confiscated and given to the rival order of the Hospitallers, though many suspected the king quietly kept the best for himself. For years the trials dragged on. Dozens of Templars were executed, others tortured until their minds broke. Pope Clement, trapped between his conscience and the king's threats, eventually dissolved the order in 1312, but the stain of what happened could never be erased. On a cold March evening in 1314, Jacques de Molay was led to a pyre on the Ile de la Cite in Paris. As the flames rose around him, he called upon God to judge those who had betrayed the Templars. Witnesses said his voice did not tremble. Before the fire consumed him, he cursed King Philip and Pope Clement, declaring that both would die within the year, and they did. Within months, both men were dead, one struck down by illness, the other by misfortune. Many believed de Molay's curse had been real, that divine justice had fallen upon the guilty. But though his death ended the order, it did not end the questions. Where had the treasure gone? How could the king's men, who had seized every stronghold, find nothing? Had the Templars hidden their wealth so well that it would never be found, or had it been spirited away by those who escaped capture? Across Europe, scattered survivors fled into the night. Some found refuge in Scotland, where the excommunicated King Robert the Bruce welcomed them. Others disappeared into Portugal, where the order seemed to transform overnight into a new name, the Knights of Christ. Their symbols, their rituals, and their mysterious knowledge survived, though their name did not. The world thought the Templars were gone, wiped from history in fire and blood. But legends endure where truth cannot. Whispers persisted that the order had not truly died, that it had simply gone underground, guarding its secrets until the time was right to rise again. In the dark days following the Templar arrests, Europe was gripped by fear and confusion. Thousands of knights had been imprisoned, their leaders tortured, and their order dissolved by papal decree. Yet, amid the chaos, one haunting question spread like wildfire through taverns, monasteries, and royal courts alike. Where did the treasure go? The mighty hoards of gold, relics, and sacred documents that had fueled the Templar Empire seemed to have vanished without a trace. Soldiers searched their strongholds, but every vault stood empty, every chest bare. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed their riches whole. But legends suggest otherwise, that the treasure was not lost at all, merely hidden, spirited away by the knights who foresaw their downfall and prepared for it in secret. The story begins in France at the coastal fortress of La Rochelle. In the days leading up to the mass arrests of October 1307, a small group of knights, loyal to Grandmaster Jacques de Molay, reportedly received a coded message. The king was planning a strike, and the order's wealth was in danger. Under the cover of night, they acted swiftly. Dozens of chests were loaded onto a fleet of Templar ships anchored in the harbor, sturdy vessels that had once carried pilgrims and supplies to the Holy Land. Witnesses claimed that before dawn, the ships set sail into the mist, never to be seen again. Where did they go? That question has haunted historians for centuries. Some say the fleet sailed north to Scotland, where the Templars would find refuge under King Robert the Bruce. Others believe they turned west, venturing into the unknown waters of the Atlantic, possibly reaching as far as the New World long before Columbus. And then there are those who think the treasure never left Europe at all, but was hidden along secret routes known only to the highest ranks of the order. The Templars were not just warriors. They were master builders, architects, and engineers. They constructed underground tunnels beneath their fortresses, secret chambers beneath churches and hidden passageways known only to the initiated. In Paris, beneath the temple complex that once served as their headquarters, rumors tell of vast subterranean vaults that have never been fully explored. Some even claim that these tunnels stretched far beyond the city, connecting safe houses across France. When the arrest came, those tunnels may have provided the perfect escape route, not just for the knights, but for the treasure they guarded with their lives. Further evidence of their survival appeared hundreds of miles away. In Scotland, where the Church's authority was weakened after the country's excommunication, the Templars could operate without fear of papal persecution. King Robert the Bruce, exiled from Rome and fighting for his throne, had every reason to welcome them. Stories passed down through generations tell of mysterious knights who appeared on the eve of the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, aiding Bruce's army with tactics and courage unlike any seen before. Many believe these were Templars, survivors of the Purge, bringing with them not only their battle experience but their sacred relics and treasures. In Portugal, the Order's survival took a different form. There, King Dinas refused to persecute the Templars. Instead, he simply renamed the Order, transforming it into the Knights of Christ. Their castles, lands, and wealth remained untouched, and their mission continued under a new banner. Centuries later, it was under this very order that explorers like Prince Henry, the navigator, would sail across the seas, carrying with them the cross that once adorned Templar mantles. Was this mere coincidence, or proof that the Templar knowledge and perhaps their hidden treasure had helped fund the Age of Discovery? There were also whispers that the Templars carried with them something far greater than gold, sacred relics and forbidden knowledge. Some claimed they had discovered secrets beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, relics from the Age of Solomon, or even the Holy Grail itself. If true, then protecting these artifacts was far more important than preserving wealth. The treasure, in that case, was not material but spiritual, safeguarded by those who vowed never to reveal its location. As centuries passed, traces of the Templars began to fade, yet their symbols endured. In Scotland's Rosslyn Chapel, built nearly 150 years after the Templar fall, carvings of Templar crosses, knights, and biblical scenes cover the stone walls. Some believe the chapel was constructed as a coded map, a marker of where the treasure was hidden or a memorial to those who carried it across the seas. Others point to Spain, where Templar fortresses like Ponferrada still stand, their stones etched with cryptic marks that seem to guard unspoken secrets. And what of the fabled routes themselves? Some modern explorers claim to have found traces of them, ancient tunnels beneath Paris, secret chambers under French cathedrals, and coded maps embedded in medieval manuscripts. Each clue points to a network so vast and intricate that it could have moved tons of gold undetected across continents. Whether by land or sea, the Templars had the means, the discipline, and the secrecy to protect their legacy. But for every clue, there is another layer of mystery. Why did no one ever confess to knowing the treasure's location, even under torture? How could an organization so large vanish, leaving behind no definitive trace of its fortune? The only explanation that fits is that the Templars had planned their escape long before the King's betrayal. They knew the political winds were turning, and they acted with the same precision that had made them legends. From France to Scotland, from Portugal to the edges of the known world, the Templar trail stretches like a web, hidden, silent, and waiting to be discovered. Their ships may have vanished, but the legends they carried still sail across the centuries, whispering of gold, secrets, and the unbroken brotherhood that refused to die across Europe. Centuries after the last Templar fires burned, whispers of their secrets never faded. Legend spoke of clues hidden in stone, of sacred symbols carved into cathedrals, of maps encoded within paintings and manuscripts. If the Templars truly hid their treasure, they did not leave behind open trails. They left riddles, buried beneath architecture, geometry, and faith. The clues, some say, were not written to be read with eyes, but to be understood with the soul of those who knew the code. From the rolling hills of France to the misty valleys of Scotland, traces of the Templars linger like echoes of a forgotten order. Their fortresses, churches, and chapels stand as silent guardians, carrying within their stones messages that have outlasted the men who built them. Historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters have all followed these trails, convinced that the answer to Europe's greatest mystery lies hidden in plain sight. One of the most intriguing examples is Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, a masterpiece of stone that seems almost too mysterious for its own time. Constructed in the 15th century by the Sinclair family descendants, some claim of Scottish Templars, the chapel's walls are alive with carvings of angels, vines, stars, and crosses. But among them lie symbols unmistakably linked to the Templar Order, two knights riding a single horse, the eight-pointed cross, and even depictions of plants that would not be known in Europe for another half-century. Some believe these carvings suggest that the Templars or their successors may have reached the Americas long before Columbus. Others think Rosslyn is a vault, a repository of secret knowledge, or perhaps the final resting place of the lost treasure itself. Yet Rosslyn is just one piece of the puzzle. Across France, the land that once held the Order's heart, lies an entire network of clues. In the small town of Rennes-le-Château, whispers of hidden Templar gold have haunted generations. A 19th-century priest, Berenger Saunier, became suddenly wealthy after discovering coded parchments inside his church. His newfound fortune led to wild speculation that he had stumbled upon the Templar treasure, or at least part of it. Even today, treasure hunters scour the hills of Rennes, convinced that beneath its soil lies the fortune of the warrior monks. In Paris, beneath the modern streets, lie the remnants of the Templar Temple, their former headquarters. Beneath the earth are passages and cellars long sealed off, said to stretch toward the Seine. When the king's soldiers raided the site in 1307, these tunnels would have offered the perfect escape route. Centuries later, when excavations were carried out, workers found fragments of Templar artifacts, crosses, coins, and masonry carved with the same symbols found across Europe. To some, it was proof that the Order's network extended beneath the city itself. The Templars were masters of hidden meaning. Their architecture was not just practical. It was spiritual geometry, designed to mirror the cosmos. Every arch, every pillar, every ratio was measured with divine precision. Many of their churches, like the famous Temple Church in London, were built in circular form, echoing the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem, their original headquarters. This circle symbolized eternity, unity, and the perfection of God, but some researchers believe it also represented something more: a map, a celestial alignment pointing to where their most sacred possessions were hidden. Even the symbols that survive on their seals and relics hint at deeper messages. The two knights on a single horse have been interpreted as a sign of humility, or a code representing duality, brotherhood, and secret partnership. The eight-pointed cross seen in countless Templar artifacts was not only a Christian emblem but also a symbol of rebirth and balance. In some cathedrals built or funded by the Templars, such as Chartres in France, carvings of labyrinths and stars are said to align with celestial patterns, perhaps a divine map leading to knowledge rather than gold. Some of the clues may not be carved in stone at all. In manuscripts dating from the 14th century, subtle references appear to hidden archives and sacred chests guarded by the poor knights. Cryptic Latin passages describe treasures placed in the hand of the morning star, a poetic phrase that could refer to Venus or to a specific geographic direction. Others mention the vault beneath the cross, interpreted by some as a literal underground chamber marked by a Templar symbol above ground. In Portugal, the city of Tomar stands as another monument to the Order's endurance. Its circular convent, the Convento de Cristo, mirrors the design of Jerusalem's temple. Deep beneath it are crypts and chambers said to have been sealed since the Middle Ages. When explorers have attempted to access them, they found blocked corridors, sealed arches, and strange engravings warning of divine protection. Could the Portuguese Templars, reformed as the Knights of Christ, have hidden their sacred relics there, safe from their persecutors? Across the centuries, artists and builders seem to have kept the Templar legacy alive through subtle means. Painters embedded their symbols in their art, stonemasons passed down secret marks through generations, and explorers carried banners reminiscent of the Red Cross on white. Even in modern times, those who study the great cathedrals of Europe claim that Templar influence runs through their design, the same mathematical proportions, the same symbolic alignment to the stars. Every clue, every carving, every symbol appears to be part of a grand pattern, a design meant not to conceal forever, but to reveal when the world was ready to understand. Perhaps the Templars knew that their true treasure, whether gold, relic, or knowledge, could not be held by one man or one kingdom. So they scattered it, across stone, across continents, across time, trusting that those who sought it would one day follow the trail of their symbols back to the truth for centuries. The mystery of the Templar treasure has lingered like a ghost haunting Europe's history. What began as rumor became legend, and what was legend became obsession. Historians, treasure hunters, and secret societies have all tried to uncover the truth, each theory more tantalizing than the last. Some claim the treasure was material, gold, jewels, relics. Others insist it was something far greater, forbidden knowledge, ancient wisdom, or even proof of a divine secret. And though the Templars were erased from history books, their mystery never faded. In fact, it only grew stronger with every passing century. The first and most persistent theory points to the underground vaults of Paris. When King Philip's men stormed the Templar temple on that fateful October morning, they found the chests empty. Some believe this wasn't coincidence. Beneath the Paris temple, a labyrinth of tunnels stretched under the city, leading to hidden vaults that have never been fully explored. According to legend, in the days before the arrests, the Templars quietly moved their most precious items, sacred relics, gold reserves, and ancient scrolls into these subterranean passages. The treasure was never meant to be recovered. It was meant to wait. And some say it still does, sealed behind walls that no one has yet dared to break. But France is only the beginning. Another powerful theory takes us north, to the rugged highlands of Scotland. When the Templars were outlawed, many knights escaped to Scotland's shores, a land beyond papal reach, ruled by a king who owed his throne to outlaws and rebels. Robert the Bruce, excommunicated by the church, was said to have welcomed the fugitive knights, offering them sanctuary in return for their loyalty. Some accounts claim that the Templars arrived with their ships at the port of Argyll, bringing not only their gold but also sacred relics like the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant. Their knowledge of architecture and warfare soon blended into Scottish society, and their influence was said to echo centuries later in the birth of Freemasonry, another brotherhood built on secrecy, symbolism, and sacred geometry. Many believe the Freemasons are the spiritual descendants of the Templars, carrying forward their teachings, their rituals, and perhaps even the secret of their hidden treasure. Then there is Portugal, a country that tells an entirely different story. Unlike France or England, Portugal never turned against the Templars. Its king, Dinas, cleverly protected them by renaming their order. The Knights Templar simply became the Knights of Christ. Their castles, lands, and ships remained under this new name, and their mission continued unbroken. The Convento de Cristo in Tomar became their new stronghold, and its architecture carries unmistakable traces of Templar design: round chapels, hidden corridors, and mysterious symbols etched into the walls. When the age of exploration began, it was the Knights of Christ who funded and blessed voyages across the ocean. Prince Henry the Navigator, the man who helped launch the Portuguese Empire, wore the cross of the Knights of Christ on his sails. Could the gold that fueled those expeditions have come from the Templar treasure? If so, perhaps the lost wealth of the order didn't vanish at all. It simply changed the world under a different name. But not every theory is bound by geography. Some believe the treasure was never physical. According to these researchers, the Templars had discovered something beneath the Temple Mount during the early Crusades, something that changed their understanding of God, power, and humanity itself. Ancient scrolls, secret knowledge, perhaps even texts that predated Christianity. Such a revelation could have threatened both church and crown, explaining why Philip and the Pope needed to silence the order. The treasure, then, may not be gold, but wisdom, knowledge that the world was not yet ready to receive. Hidden manuscripts, sacred geometry, divine codes that linked heaven and earth. In this view, the Templars were not hoarders of wealth, but guardians of enlightenment. Other theories reach across oceans. Some claim the Templar fleet that vanished from La Rochelle sailed west, not to Scotland, but across the Atlantic. If true, they may have discovered new lands long before Columbus. Supporters of this theory point to strange carvings in Rosslyn Chapel that depict corn and aloe plants, species native only to the Americas and unknown in Europe at the time of its construction. Could this mean that the Templars, or their successors, had already made contact with the New World and brought back not gold, but knowledge of lands yet undiscovered? Archaeologists, too, have joined the hunt. In recent years, excavations at old Templar sites in France, Spain, and Portugal have revealed cryptic artifacts, coins marked with unknown symbols, stone carvings with celestial patterns, and underground chambers whose purpose remains a mystery. Yet, despite centuries of searching, no definitive cache of treasure has ever been found. This absence only deepens the intrigue. How could an organization so vast, with such immense resources, vanish completely without leaving behind a single trace of its wealth? Unless, of course, the treasure was never meant to be found, or it was hidden in such a way that only those with the true knowledge of the Order could ever locate it. Every new discovery seems to create more questions than answers. The connections between the Templars and later secret societies, the Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, even the Illuminati, have fueled endless speculation. Their shared symbols, from the all-seeing eye to the compass and square, seem to carry echoes of the same ancient wisdom. It's as if the Templars didn't die. They simply changed form, continuing their mission through generations under new banners and oaths. And so, the theories multiply: vaults under Paris, relics hidden in Rosslyn, ships lost at sea, gold buried beneath cathedrals, and knowledge encrypted in stone. Historians debate, treasure hunters dig, and dreamers follow the signs. Yet no one has ever truly solved the riddle. Perhaps the Templars succeeded in their greatest mission to guard their secrets so well that the truth would live forever, not in the hands of kings, but in the hearts of those who dare to seek it. Centuries have passed since the flames of Jacques de Molay's execution faded into the Parisian night, but the shadow of the Knights Templar has never left Europe. Their name still stirs fascination, their symbols still appear in stone and scripture, and their legend still haunts the corridors of history. The treasure they once guarded, whether gold or knowledge, has become more than a myth. It has become a mirror reflecting our endless hunger for truth. But what if, after all this time, the treasure was finally found? What if Europe's greatest mystery was not a legend, but a buried reality waiting to be unearthed? Imagine, for a moment, the magnitude of such a discovery. Somewhere, beneath layers of earth or hidden behind ancient walls, lies the culmination of centuries of faith, power, and secrecy. It could be gold beyond measure, relics lost since biblical times, or documents that challenge everything we think we know about religion and history. The mere idea of its existence sends ripples through the world of archaeology, theology, and politics. For some, it would be the greatest find in human history. For others, it would be the most dangerous revelation the world has ever faced. If the treasure were uncovered, it would not simply be about wealth. The Templars' riches were said to include artifacts tied directly to the Holy Land, the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, even sacred texts from the time of Solomon. Such discoveries would rewrite religious history. Every church, every temple, every sacred tradition could be forced to confront its origins. The world's faiths might have to reconcile with truths hidden for centuries beneath the surface of power and doctrine. Could humanity handle that revelation? Or would it shatter the delicate balance that belief has built over 1,000 years? And then there is the political weight. If the Templar treasure included gold, jewels, and land deeds, as historical records suggest, its modern value would be unimaginable. We are not speaking of millions, but possibly billions in wealth redistributed across nations and centuries. Who would own it? France, where the Templars were destroyed? The Vatican, which sanctioned their persecution? Scotland or Portugal, where the order may have survived? Or would it belong to no one, a legacy of faith and courage that transcends all borders and crowns? Some say that the treasure has already been found, quietly in pieces. Whispers tell of secret excavations beneath Rosslyn Chapel, of unearthed vaults in Tamar, and of coded manuscripts hidden in private collections. But every claim vanishes into silence. Every researcher who comes close seems to hit a wall of mystery, as though an unseen force is still guarding the Templar legacy. Perhaps that is exactly how the Order intended it. The Templars vowed to protect their secret until the time was right, until the world was ready to understand. Maybe that time has not yet come. But the idea of what the treasure means may be more profound than what it is. To the Templars, the real treasure might never have been gold. It might have been the knowledge they gathered, wisdom from ancient civilizations, mathematical and astronomical insights, spiritual truths lost to time. They traveled across continents, interacted with scholars of the East, and studied texts forbidden to others. Their understanding of sacred geometry, architecture, and symbolism was centuries ahead of their time. If their treasure was this knowledge, a spiritual map to understanding creation itself, then its value surpasses anything that could be measured in gold or jewels. Perhaps that is why they were feared. The kings and popes of their age ruled with power rooted in mystery and faith. If the Templars discovered truths that could weaken that authority, their existence would have been intolerable. Maybe that is why they were silenced, and why their secrets were buried beneath centuries of myth. But truth, like light, has a way of breaking through even the thickest stone. Every generation has sought to uncover it, explorers, scholars, mystics, and now modern researchers using satellites and ground-penetrating radar. Each new discovery brings us a step closer, and yet the treasure remains elusive, as if testing our patience, demanding that we seek not just with shovels, but with understanding. Perhaps the treasure can only be found by those who grasp its true meaning, that enlightenment, not gold, was the Templars' greatest legacy, and still the questions remain. If the treasure were revealed today, what would it tell us? Would it confirm that the Templars preserved something sacred that the world was never meant to see? Would it expose truths that could unite humanity or divide it even further? Could the discovery of a relic like the Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant ignite faith anew, or unravel centuries of belief and power? The Templars may be gone, but their shadow stretches into every corner of modern life, in architecture, in secret societies, even in the symbols on our currency and monuments. Their ideas shaped nations, guided explorers, and influenced thinkers who carried their vision into the Renaissance and beyond. Every church bell, every cathedral arch, every cross and stone whispers a fragment of their story. The treasure, in whatever form it takes, remains a promise, a reminder that beneath the surface of history, something extraordinary is still waiting to be found. And perhaps that was always their intention. Not to hoard gold, but to hide truth in plain sight. To challenge future generations to search, to question, to learn. To ensure that as long as people look to the past with curiosity and wonder, the spirit of the Knights Templar, their courage, their mystery, and their secret would never truly die centuries of silence. Fragments of stone and whispers of gold, that is all that remains of the Knights Templar. Yet from their ashes, a legend has endured, one that continues to haunt Europe's collective memory. The story of their lost treasure is not just about riches or relics. It's about the hunger to understand what lies beyond the edges of recorded history. Every symbol, every map, every myth pulls us closer to a truth that refuses to fade, as if the Templars themselves left a riddle meant to challenge us across time. Perhaps the treasure still sleeps beneath cathedral floors or hidden vaults deep within the earth, guarded by centuries of silence. Or perhaps it was never meant to be found, because the true wealth of the Templars was never their gold, but their knowledge, their faith, and their vision of a world bound by brotherhood and mystery. What began as a story of knights and kings has become a timeless quest, one that blurs the lines between myth and reality. Whether the treasure is buried in stone or hidden within the human spirit, one thing is certain: the mystery of the Knights Templar will never die. It endures in every unanswered question, every coded carving, every legend whispered in the shadows of history. And maybe that's the greatest treasure of all, the eternal spark of curiosity that drives us to keep searching, to keep wondering, and to keep believing that some secrets are simply too powerful to be lost forever.